Hey, what's up guys? Before we get into this video, I wanted to tell you guys about Uncanny GG. Uncanny's new system allows you to find the information you need to get better at the game. Streaming gameplay to their AI is super easy, private, and for each match, you are given an interactive map that shows where everything happens. The system even automatically clips every kill or death so you can see exactly what happened and eventually share awesome highlights. But probably the best thing is they have analyzed hundreds of pro matches and give you the chance to compare what you do to the best players in the world. Uncanny is in their early access stage and free for a limited time only. Setup usually takes under 3 minutes, so be sure to go sign up now before it costs money. Hey, what's up guys? In this video today, I'm going to be showing you guys the absolute best high ground retakes and some of the newest ones that are the most effective for getting quick high ground as fast as possible, with as minimal practice needed as possible. What this means is that these moves are going to be easy to learn. My tutorial is going to be very in-depth, which makes them even easier, but they're going to be incredibly effective, and they're also going to be new moves. The majority of these are ones that I've either seen pro players use a lot, or ones that I've actually created myself, which are insanely effective. So without further ado, let's get right into the video, and let's get right into high ground retake number 1. This is the first high ground retake in this video, and it's essentially a triple 90 with a twist. How this high ground retake works is we first start by cranking a normal 90, which is basically just 1 and 2 90s, and then we place a ramp out and we place a pyramid on top and then do one more 90 and go all the way up. Now, in order to do this move effectively, you need to be able to place that pyramid perfectly. If I show you guys a few more examples, you'll see exactly what I mean when I say this. And to basically show you guys some of the mistakes that a lot of players tend to make when attempting this move, what will happen is whenever a player goes ahead and tries to do this and they go to basically place that pyramid all the way up at that peak, what will happen is the pyramid will actually not place there, and it will place one tile before, and it will instead box them in. And this is what this looks like. Now, to stop doing this, what you guys need to start doing is by waiting just half a second after you place your ramp, get your cursor all the way to the peak of that ramp, and then click your pyramid button and place it. And yeah guys, that's how you do number 1. Number 2 is a move that I created myself, and I call it the double triple 90. How this works is essentially every single time after you guys try to do a triple 90, the problem that you'll run into is jump fatigue. And what this means is that you can't do more than 3 90s without stopping. So if you try to do 4 90s, what will happen is your player will get fatigued and it won't be able to jump that last 90. And when this happens, you'll run into the problem of not being able to do more 90s. And what my solution basically does is it keeps your 90 momentum going without losing any momentum whatsoever. So here's how to do it. How this works is we crank out our traditional triple 90s, and then at the peak we extend out one more ramp, and then we do this quick little move that I basically created. And what this does is it keeps you from hitting the wall, so you have 100% momentum, and it's a quick little jump that will protect you from incoming shots, and it will basically send you straight into your second set of triple 90s. This is the most effective way to gain high ground in the game right now, and this is not an exaggeration or a joke. Triple 90s are the fastest ways of getting high ground, and when you combine this little trick that I've created with another triple 90, there is no other possible way to gain high ground faster than this. To show you guys how this is one of the most effective high ground retakes, here's a 1v1 example of starting a 1v1 with this triple 90 method. So player 1, which is what I'm doing right now, is basically performing the double triple 90. Player 2, on the other hand, I'll be doing multiple different scenarios and we'll be comparing them. The first one is a normal double 90 that most players will do. If a player attempts this, they'll see that you're already a whole layer ahead of them, and they basically won't be able to do anything because you'll be a lot higher. So from here, what the player will most likely attempt to do is either turn to the right and crank more, and even then they won't be able to catch up to you. But let's say that this player goes for triple 90 themselves, and after that they do another triple 90, but they don't use that method that we used. What we'll see is that they still won't be as high as you. Now if I move a little bit closer, you'll see that we are a whole level ahead of the other player, which was player 1. So as you guys can see, using this double triple 90 method is one of the fastest starts and one of the best ways to actually gain high ground. The third high ground retake in this video is also an excellent 1v1 start, and it's similar to one we did in the beginning. How this works is we're basically going to be doing that triple 90 high ground retake that we did in the very beginning, where we placed a cone on the second 90. But what we're going to be doing is when we get to this cone, what we're going to do is we're basically going to edit it in a way that makes it crumble, and then we're going to hold our cone button down. And what this does is it will place another cone directly behind it, which will basically cone your opponent. Although this is a great high ground retake, it's also a very effective 1v1 start. Now, another thing that you guys can do with this move is you can use it in accordance with the same way that we did it in the first one, where you place it and then you just do another 90 and you continue to go. Now, if you take a look right now, this is the perspective of your opponent if you were to use this move on them. They will get coned, and the only options they will have is to either do a jump out like this, which they most likely won't expect because by then they'll be deep into it, so they won't go for the jump. And what they'll be doing is they'll just try to break out like this, and then they'll try to follow you up. But if you've done this move correctly and you've already 90'd up and continued to move after you've coned your opponent, you'll be long gone by the time that they figure out what's happened and they try to counter it by either doing a side jump or by breaking it and simply building up. And as you guys can see, this move can be easily combined with the many other moves that I showed in this video. And if you guys combine these together, what you'll get is a very powerful assortment of high ground retakes that you can use whenever you need, together in unison in a way that confuses your opponents. For our fourth move, what we have is the well-known Thwifo cone, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be combining this with a triple 90. As you guys can see, this move has absolutely no momentum loss, and it's very effective and fast, and you can keep combining it with other moves, which makes it very good. And the cone that we're placing on top of us is very good for slowing down opponents if they're behind us and they're tracking us. Now, in a second, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this move in slow motion, and also some very good tricks to show you guys how to master it, because Thwifo coning can be a challenge and it's not always the easiest thing to do. So to do this move, you're going to start by turning around for a split second and then placing two walls and then looking up and placing a floor and a pyramid, and then turning back quickly and placing a floor and a ramp. You want to turn and place the walls and the floor pyramid in one swift movement, and then turn back around and place the floor and the ramp on your way down from your jump. Once you've gotten this movement down, Thwifo coning will become much easier and it'll just become muscle memory. But to get this down in the beginning, it will take some practice, so don't get demotivated if it takes you a few tries to finally get it right. But once you get a hang of it, you'll be able to do it quickly, efficiently, and with much ease. What I've realized is a lot of tips and tricks, guys, will teach you to do it the way that I'm doing it right now, people like Jerry and others, but the problem with this is that you're covering a longer distance when you're turning, and you're also not covering as much as you should be. If you do it the way I showed you, you guys can see that you'll get an entire side and roof protection when you're doing the Thwifo cone. But if you only do it on one backside, you won't have the side protection that you'll have with the Thwifo cone the way that I'm doing it. Not only will you have more protection, but it's also faster and easier to do because you're not making as much of a movement as you will be doing it the other way. One last thing about Thwifo coning is that you should be able to do it on both sides. So once you've mastered doing it on your dominant side, make sure you practice doing it on the other side, because being able to do this on both sides is a huge advantage, and most opponents do not expect you to be able to do this, so you can throw them off greatly. And as I mentioned before, this is also another move that can be combined with every other move that I showed in this video. So you can easily combine the Thwifo cone technique with the triple 90s and all the other techniques that I'll be showing you guys in this video. The fifth and final move is known as the Booga side jump, and there's many different complex ways of doing this. So right now I'm going to show you guys a few examples of me doing this in some different ways. I'm not going to be showing you guys how to do all of these. I'm only going to be showing you guys how to do some of my personal favorites and some of the ones that I've found to work the best. So the first one out of these is simply the one where you just jump to the side and then you perform a quick 90 and go over your opponent. The way that you do this is by quickly jumping to the side once you place a ramp on the top, and then simply doing a 90 and extending out. This is one of my favorite ones in doing this trick, and it's pretty simple to do and easy to learn. Next, one of my favorite ones is also doing something very similar, but instead we'll be turning around and then placing a floor and a pyramid on top of us and then editing out. This is much more flashy, and it's also kind of a reverse because you're going to be turning the tide on your opponent. Instead of them running after you, running in a single direction, you're going to be switching your direction on them completely. The way you do this is you basically place a pyramid on top, you turn around, you jump out, and then you double edit this floor and this pyramid, and you now have done the move. And just like the other ones, it can be combined with other moves so that you guys can basically take all the moves I've taught you in this video and make a series out of it. And with this move, although I only said there's going to be 5 in this video, I also have a few more that are very similar to this one right here, so I only really count them as 5. But let me show you these real quick because these are also very effective, but they're a little bit different. The first is one that you've probably seen in a lot of face sway videos, and it's basically a outside jump combined with this weird little wall floor edit. The way that you perform this move is by essentially placing a pyramid on top of your ramp, and then placing a ramp out, and then starting to hold your wall button, and then quickly selecting your floor button at the peak. Once you've done this, you'll basically jump out and land on top of that ramp that you place at the very end, and you'll just edit your way out of this little structure that you've created. This doesn't get you high ground that well, but it does throw off your opponent greatly, and it provides great coverage. So if you mix it in with some of the other moves, it can be a great way to throw off your opponents. And the final move in this video is a classic and one of my favorites. This is one that I learned by Martaz many seasons ago, but it still works very effectively to this day. How this move works is we basically do a double ramp up, and then we turn around, and then we quickly place 2 walls, extend them out, place a ramp to catch ourselves, and then we perform a 90. So to show you guys how to do this slowly, what you're going to do is you're going to place a wall, you're going to jump out, place 2 more, and then place a floor and a ramp, and then quickly do a 90. This move is very effective once you've learned how to do it correctly, but it will take a bit of time because there's an error that many people will make, and what this error is basically turning too quickly before you jump out. And what this does is it locks you in, and it does not allow for your wall to connect correctly. The way you fix this is by simply waiting just a second before you turn to the left or the right, depending on which side you do it, to place that second wall. And what this does is it will keep you from actually locking yourself in. And yeah guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you watched until the end, be sure to comment "Bay" in the comment section to know that you saw the whole thing, and I will see you guys in the next one.